Hello everyone, this is Preeti Sagar and welcome back to Career Launcher UPSC. In this discussion, I'll take up the session on Quadrilateral Security Dialogue 2021. So if I talk about this year's summit, so this Quadrilateral Security Dialogue of the leaders of Australia, India, Japan, and USA that was held on 12th of March, and that defined a moment in Asian geopolitics. As we can understand, we know that these four countries, these are representing Indo-Pacific littorals. Littorals meaning the Indo-Pacific region. And this region is important for so many reasons. We'll discuss about that if we talk about maritime security, if we talk about trade relationship between these countries, economic relationship between these countries, then economic opportunities, the emerging opportunities between these countries. So this Indo-Pacific region, it becomes very important. This summit of 2021, this is also very important. Why? Because we have seen Quad was very important for Trump under Trump's administration in USA. But after changing the government in USA, when the new president Joe Biden, he assumed the office in USA in January this year, and in the month of March, after 2 months, he conducted this meeting of Quad. It means Quad is very, very important and it has many relevances. That is why this importance has been shown by conducting this meeting in this month, in the month of March. So this meeting, it was at a highest political level, occasioned a productive dialogue, and it was concluded with a substantive joint statements that is indicative of its immediate significance. It means it is having some significances. So we'll discuss about that. So if I talk about, before moving on to the significance, before moving on to the summit this year, I will discuss its background, how this quadrilateral security group or the members, they emerged, they created this group. So beginning of this quad group, that was a grouping of United States, Japan, India, and Australia. And we can see this group has been found during tsunami. Okay, tsunami which struck India or Indo-Ocean region in 2004. So it was initially a tsunami core group, and that core group was an ad hoc grouping which sprang up to respond to the devastating tsunami of 2004. That is called Boxing Day tsunami of 2004. So this core group, that was a new type of diplomacy which created a new network in the face of emerging challenges. And they brought together these four countries with best equipped to swiftly mobilize tsunami aid. It means these countries, because India affected the most, the coastal region of India affected the most. So these four countries, they combined, they formed this coalition, ad hoc grouping, you can say, and they best equipped to swiftly mobilize tsunami aid so that this aid can be used for the development of those affected region. So this cooperation provided the basis for the first iteration of Quad, and they met briefly in 2007, and then after coming apart in 2008. So for the 8 years of destabilization in the region, it means from 2007 and later on 2008 till 2017, no such formal meeting has been conducted between these countries. It means Quad meeting that went in the hibernation. Okay, so after these many years, destabilization in the region, that led to a growing convergence in foreign policies among the four states, with a focus on securing a free and open Indo-Pacific, taking joint action against terrorism, and promoting a rule-based system. It has been analyzed basically during 2007 and after tsunami core group and 2007 era when this Quad meeting initially they conducted. So China was important for these countries because China was an emerging economy by that time. And the assertiveness of China was not shown. It was not visible. So China was a manufacturing hub for these countries. So Chinese importance has been realized by that time. So this meeting, the Quad grouping, it didn't show its relevance by that time. Now we can see that this Quad, if Indo-Pacific littoral countries are there and big and developing countries are part of it, it means that there are some hidden motive, hidden purpose behind that. And that is what? That is countering China, or you can say assertiveness of China. Okay, so in 2017, again, when China became assertive, when its assertion can be seen in the form of Doklam standoff between India and China, the present 2020 standoff between India and China, and before that, BRI initiative. So its assertiveness was visible among these leaders, among these many leaders, because they are representing such a big region of the world politics. Okay, so for the 8 years of destabilization in the region that led to a growing convergence in the foreign policies, many changes had been seen, and they started focusing on securing a free and open Indo-Pacific, and started taking joint action against terrorism and promoting a rule-based system in the Asian politics, in the Indo-Pacific region, basically. So as a result, Quad get its reformation in 2017 and then began a convening on a bi-monthly basis. So in the different forms, we saw Quad meetings used to held, for example, 2+2 dialogue between Quad nations, Quad Plus, we also seen. Then its militarization, that was in the form of Malabar exercise, which was a trilateral exercise. And last year we saw that Australia was emphasized to join this Malabar exercise. So it was given a term, militarization of Quad, because Quad is what? Quad is a security dialogue between the officials of these countries or member groups. So big officials like prime minister or president of countries, they be part of this quadrilateral summit, and they held discussions on various issues. So Quad members have been circumspect about aims and objectives of the grouping. Then it is becoming one of the important elements in the geopolitical and geo-economic discussions in the Indo-Pacific region. So this region is not only facing an expansionist China, but they are also dealing with some uncertainties about USA Asia policy and the role of ASEAN countries. How? See, we know that ASEAN countries, they also formed a coalition with some of the Asian countries, Japan, China, Australia, New Zealand. India was also part of it earlier, but India has boycotted, India has backed out of RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So these region, ASEAN plus these 5 countries, they are representing such a big contribution or such a big economic region of the world. And that was a kind of countering USA. So here it becomes very important that these developed and developing countries of Indo-Pacific littoral region form a coalition, or form a you can say, yeah, coalition you can say, or member, so that they can have some kind of footstep or some kind of platform where they can counter Chinese assertiveness in various forms, and basically or importantly in the economic form, economic assertiveness of China. So Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, he played an instrumental role here in the reformation of Quad in 2007. After recognizing the opportunities afforded by growing expanded regional cooperation, including East Asia Summit, and by developments in the USA alliance system like US, Japan, Australia trilateral. And later on, India was also became part of it. So Shinzo Abe, basically, why he propounded propounded the importance of this quadrilateral group, because of growing assertiveness of China, and maritime security issues were there, maritime domain issues were there. So that is why it was seen importance to form such groups. So he emphasized on the its reformation in 2007. So this quadrilateral security group, it is having various characteristic features why it is important. So if I talk about, there are various platforms on which its importance can be seen. So if I talk about diplomatic, so diplomatic relations between these countries, why it is important. So most significant characteristics of the Quad, that is relatively exclusive and functional as a forum for diplomatic consultation. diplomatic consultation between all the four countries. So Quad meetings since 2017 that has been held among diplomats from respective foreign ministries. It means 2+2 dialogue of Quad. 2+2 means what? That is diplomats of all the countries. Foreign officials like external affairs minister plus defense. Okay, so that is what 2+2 meeting. Okay, so in the form of diplomats from respective foreign ministries, these meetings used to be held. So they started addressing broader agendas in the Indo-Pacific region, and there was a high level of policy coordination on a number of issues, which had many impacts on the rule-based regional order, including maritime security, terrorism, cyber security, and connectivity issues between these countries. Okay, so despite some Southeast Asian states' concerns about their own centrality, and Quad is unlikely to replace ASEAN, which is an alternative center for regional security cooperation. ASEAN is a regional security cooperation. It means it is representing Southeast Asian nations. Okay, representation of Southeast Asian nations. So they were providing such kind of platform in the region, Southeast Asian region. That was a region specific. But Quad is what? Quad is Asia plus Pacific. Okay, so growing concerns were there that in these region, Indo-Pacific region, such type of platform is required, which can provide security, cyber security, which can provide connectivity, so that economic cooperation can be taken, economic relationship can be established, regional order was required. Okay, so that maritime security can be promoted, terrorism can be curbed, piracy can be curbed. Okay, then another characteristic, if I talk about, that is information sharing. Information sharing means what? That these Quad members, they are having major military assets, and these military assets, these are located in the Indo-Pacific littorals, which is stretched from Indian Ocean and Western Pacific Ocean, from Djibouti to Hawaii. Okay, so Indian Ocean, Djibouti became part of Indian Ocean, Hawaii became part of Pacific. Okay, so from Djibouti to Hawaii, its assets, military assets, are located in this region. So here, information sharing between these countries become very important. So this immense geographical range provides a certain strategic logic in institutionalized maritime domain awareness, information sharing, because of increasing risk of unexpected collisions between Coast Guard vessels in these hotspot areas. Okay, so to curb these kind of terrorist activities, it was required to have information sharing between these countries. Then non-traditional threats like maritime terrorism, maritime piracy. So to provide a security in this region, it becomes very important. Then it is clear that Quad members are building information networks with Australia, Japan, and USA, and they are sharing defense-related informations through a 2016 agreement. India, that was an odd one out, and it was a non-US ally. And because we have seen after getting independence, India was non-aligned to any country, neither USA nor USSR. So India being a part of being a non-US ally, and it began to create foundations for information sharing with USA and Japan later on. So it becomes very important that to provide security in the ocean region, Indo-Pacific Ocean region, Indo-Pacific littoral area. So it was very important to provide security, and for security, information sharing regarding security became very important. So that is why it becomes a very important characteristic feature of the Quad meeting. Now, if I talk about military, so some special measures had been taken, including promotion of joint exercises for improving interoperability. Joint exercises, it means bilateral exercises, trilateral exercises, and quadrilateral exercises. And these exercises, military exercises, these are conducted for improving interoperability between these countries. Interoperation means what? That whenever these countries require help of each other, they would be present. Okay, they would interoperate. Then military technology and defense equipment transfer among the Quad. It means technology transfer would take place between these countries. Capacity building of Indo-Pacific regional states. So whatever capacities are having in the Indo-Pacific region, so capacity building measures will be taken. Suddenly, these four militaries, they are able to improve interoperability of equipment and software systems through mutual access to defense technology. So mutual access would be established. So that is established basically. So militarily, it is also very important. Then its economic importance. So this economy becomes very, very important characteristic feature of quadrilateral group. There is another aspect, that is economic aspect of the Quad, which includes two major themes. First is economic integration, and second is regional connectivity. See, if we are talking about trade or economy, so here connectivity, regional connectivity becomes very important, so that transfer or transportation of goods or commodities can be taken place very easily, where the multimodal transport system could be used. So regional connectivity is very, very important aspect of economy or economic aspect, and economic integration between these countries. So if they are holding or they are conducting security dialogues, so they can also utilize this dialogue into economic integration. Then China's BRI initiative or Belt and Road Initiative, that made a significant impact on the existing norms of infrastructure development. How? See, if I talk about China, under its BRI initiative, we know that it is creating a road network which will connect different regions of the countries and continents, Asia to West Asia to Pacific. Okay, then recently we have seen Polar Silk Road is also under construction. Then Maritime Silk Road is also under construction. So it is providing a connectivity from one continent to another continent. It means Chinese presence would be present in these areas wherever BRI initiative is passing. So here it becomes very important that the presence of these countries could be felt in the form of regional connectivity, and this regional connectivity would provide economic integration between these countries. So given the magnitude of India's economic growth and its strategically essential locations, Quad may need to prioritize investment in India. And in 2020, during COVID-19 era, we saw India's importance in terms of its economy or economic capabilities. For example, when COVID-19 struck, outbreak of COVID-19 happened, we saw India's healthcare facility was very much declined. India was running out of PPE kits. There was no facilities of ventilators. Number of cases were growing, and it was expected that number of deaths would be very much greater as compared to Italy and USA. These are very developed countries, very much developed, and they are having very good healthcare facilities. But what we saw a very flip kind of situation where India emerged as a manufacturer or biggest manufacturers of PPE kits. It means we attained or we achieved self-reliance in the PPE manufacturing. Then ventilator facilities. So India was seen as it is having economic capabilities, but that is the matter of time. So India is seen as an option to counter China. So here India's role is very, very important in this Quad meeting, in this quadrilateral security dialogue. So that was all about its background, why it created, what are its importance. Now, if I talk about this year's summit, Quad Summit 2021, so there are many significances of it. Why this meeting has been held, why this meeting has conducted. So there are some significance, we'll discuss about that. So if we talk about Indo-Pacific region, so there is a vision of Indo-Pacific region. And what is that? So joint statement that struck a neat compromise. What is that? It is to please the US and Japan, and that refers a free and open Indo-Pacific region. But in the very next sentence, it offers an elaboration: free, open, inclusive, healthy, anchored by democratic values, and unconstrained by coercion, that amplify, satisfy, that amply satisfy India and Australia. It means India and Australia, who are representing Indo or Indian Ocean region. Okay, so here their role becomes very important to provide a platform or to support a platform which is what? Which is free, open, inclusive, healthy, and anchored by democratic values. So, from politics to health and society, it becomes very important. So this is the vision of this Indo-Pacific group, that they are to provide free, open, inclusive, healthy, and anchored by democratic values. Okay, so this region would represent these values, or this is the vision of this Indo-Pacific group. Then aligned approach of leaders. What are those aligned approach? So summit leaders, they have secured an adequate alignment of their approaches towards China. Although they did not mention China, but what they mentioned about security challenges. And we know that security challenges, whether it is in the form of countering China against BRI initiative, against its role and presence in East and South China Sea, which is impacting Japan, which is impacting ASEAN countries. There are many tussles between ASEAN and China, between Japan and China, because of their claim over East and South China Sea. Okay, so here the summit leaders, they have secured an adequate alignment of their approaches towards China, even without mentioning without mentioning the name of China. So senior officials, they gave some hints on this score that reinforced by phrases like security challenges and the rule-based maritime order in the East and South China Sea in their joint statement. So here Quad members, they preferred a smart blend of competition, cooperation, and confrontation. So the members of Quad group, what they will do, they will compete, they will cooperate, they will confront together. Then impacting the minds of people. How? So Quad has placed a premium on winning the battle for the hearts and minds of the people in Indo-Pacific region. The aim is to convince the nations of Southeast Asia, Pacific Island, and the Indian Ocean region that Quad is benign grouping and they are committed to the solutions for their development and well-being. How? Vaccine distribution or vaccination drive in the member countries. So that explains the special initiatives to ensure equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines for the every person in need in the region from Western Pacific to Eastern Africa. So here vaccination drive becomes very important, and in this vaccination drive, India's role has become very, very important. So that is both a laudable and doable objective, and it gives the firm commitment to financial support by USA, Japan, logistics, and some funding from Australia. So USA and Japan would provide funding, and Australia would provide logistics and funding. And manufacturing and managerial capabilities will be taken care by India. So it is what? It is a cooperative approach on the vaccination drive, on the distribution of manufacturing and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. So this new strategy is a real highlight that should result in the production of 1 billion vaccine doses in India by 2022. So here India will become a self-reliant in vaccination manufacturing, followed by distribution of vaccines in different countries. Then working groups. So there are some mission for the working groups. And what are those? So establishment of 3 working groups on vaccine partnership, climate change, and critical and emerging technologies like telecom and biotechnology. And their new standards, innovation in supply chains is a welcome step. So these members, they are now going to form a working group who will work on these many areas. These are vaccine partnership on the vaccination, manufacturing, and distribution. Then their joint efforts for climate change, critical and emerging technologies. These are what? These are telecommunication. These are biotechnology, the various spheres of biotechnology and its utilization in various fields. And some new standards which will also be worked upon Innovative ideas will also worked upon, and supply chain to be maintained. Joint R&D projects becomes very essential here on these many areas. So all this should get four national establishments into serious policy coordination and action mode, creating new capacities. So these four countries, the members of this quadrilateral group, what they will do, they will establish into serious policy coordination on these many areas. Then action mode is required to work upon, and new capacities will also be created. The careful choice of themes reflects a deep understanding of the long term challenge posed by China and has global implications. So, here it is representing the geopolitics and changing phenomena of Asian politics is also very important to take care of. So, Quad members or Quad summit becomes very important here to understand. Then, next significance is what? One-on-one meeting of the members. So, finally, on March 12th, summit has been held, and leaders have agreed to meet in person later this year, possibly at an international event within the region. So foreign ministers, they will gather at least once a year. Other relevant officials will also meet, and this will grow the habit of Quad working together for a common vision with agreed modalities for cooperation. So here we can see the future of the Quad. What would be the future of the Quad? The cooperation and their relationship will become strengthening with regular meetings, with regular dialogues, and their actions on the discussions discussions taken in the meetings. So here we can see the one-on-one meeting. It will be very impactful, so that leaders of the Quad members or the Quad countries, they will be in the touch regularly, so that their mission and vision can be fulfilled. Okay, so these were the significances of Quad summit. Now, some criticism has also been seen, that was from China, and their commitment has also been seen. So, summit has been watched closely by ASEAN capitals, and a few of them may express cautious welcome to it. Beijing, it means China, that seems rattled, but it resigned to Quad's new momentum. Chinese see it in the negative term, and they started targeting India in particular. They are refraining of India is moving too close to the USA. And after this summit, India would become a negative asset for BRICS and SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So now China has started criticizing India onto it. Particularly, it is targeting India on this. So among other issues discussed by Quad, Korean Peninsula drew particular attention. So commitment to complete denuclearization of North Korea, and as per the United Nations Security Council resolutions, that also reiterated. Reference to the importance of South Korea as a partner of Quad has also been discussed. It means in the in the coming years and going further, we would see South Korea be part of this quadrilateral meeting or summit. Then on Myanmar, they discussed, and it was said to restore democracy and priority of strengthening democratic resilience in Myanmar. And it will also help ASEAN in carrying forward its diplomatic initiative to promote reconciliation in Myanmar. So these many areas they discussed in the Quad summit. Criticism has also been seen by China that India has become a negative asset for BRICS and SCO. In fact, China used to say this Quad summit as Asian NATO. NATO is what? That is the military organization. So it was named as Asian NATO. So criticism has also been there, continuous criticism we have seen, but commitments are very important to read about and to take care of. Now, at the end, these four leaders, they are projected Quad as a flexible group of like-minded partners who are dedicated to advancing a common vision and to ensure peace and prosperity in the region. Summit, and the theme of this summit, that is Spirit of the Quad. And this has inspired the title of joint statement, which has represented a giant leap forward of this Quad summit. So now this is the time to back political commitment to get back to the political commitment with a strong mix of resolve, energy, stamina, and fresh ideas of stakeholders and experts who are outside of the government to fulfill the promise of the Quad. So here it becomes very important that with the regular meeting, with the regular exercises, these countries should present their cooperation, should present their um, uh, cooperation in the Indo-Pacific littorals and in the region, so that they can work with all such motivation in the said area, in the respective areas. So that is all about Quad, how it formed, how it is going on, and what are the relevance and significance of this year's summit. So I hope it is clear now. I hope it is helpful for you in your examination. Thank you so much. This is Preeti Sagar. Have a nice day.